Is your battery?
Oh, no, I'm just filming. Okay, let's do this.
Okay. Let's see.
There she is.
Are you on?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's see. When I did JB Jones, I was at Grace, and that Grace had a lovely singing voice. She sings this song where she has to sing really, really high, which already was a bit of a stretch for me.
We used to have a black box theater, and so little tiny guys, 2 and 3, and even 1-year-olds would come and they'd sit around us on the floor.
Well, there was this terrible, terrible cold that was circulating around the entire cast, and I finally caught it.
But one little boy got up and his teacher tried to make him sit down.
And so I go out and I'm doing my song, and then I get ready for my big, just as long as I run.
And he retched up all over, he vomited all over the entire section of percussion instruments we had.
And that's exactly what happened in front of tons of children.
I have a very low gag reflex anyway, so.
What can I say? That was my big moment.
To this day, I don't even want to pick up those hand cymbals ever again and that stuff that was over there, because we still have those.
This is a story that our stage manager, Dan Brewer, is unaware of, and that I might be in a lot of trouble when he sees this video.
I'm Dan Brewer, the company's stage manager, and I've seen lots of strange things happening here over the years.
We needed a Jacob's ladder, which are 2 copper electrodes that an arc travels up. Really cool, extremely dangerous.
One thing that comes to mind is during Robin Goodfellow, Oberon, King of the Fairies, does a magic trick and sends a bolt of fire across the stage.
Don't try this at home.
It's a magic trick, it's kind of fun.
Well, I had used a Lexan spacer at the top.
Well, this day, the ball of flame, flash paper, just decides to take a turn 90 degrees downstage and lands on an actress playing Cobweb.
One thing I didn't know about Lexan is that it's flammable.
David, the king's eyes widened because he thought he saw a little bit of puff of smoke. And he goes up to Dara and says, "I think you're on fire."
One of the spacers on one of the Jacob's ladders has caught on fire and is flaming at the top.
And she just stays in character, her eyes get a little bigger, and she waddles off stage doing her fun little walk.
I ran over and grabbed the fire extinguisher and put out the fire thing.
Sure enough, I looked down, she was standing right next to me, and her bottom is smoldering, and I pat her out and just said, "Okay, you're fine," and send her right back out on stage, and she wanders back out on stage.
But thankfully that was the only problem we had with it. I made a correction and we didn't have any problems with it during the show, so.
I think actors are pretty good about making it, when things go wrong, they just keep the show going.
That's what rehearsal's for, so we get all the kinks worked out before anyone's life is in danger.
For Go Dog Go, it was dress rehearsal, and we were in the middle of the big dog party! We had hula hoops and balloons and ice cream cones.
One of the funniest things that's ever happened to me on stage here at the Children's Theater was during Frankenstein about a year ago.
So I'm going across in my tutu, throwing up my hula hoop, and as I throw it up...
In the middle of a show one day, I bent over to pick up the Frankenstein creature, and when I stood up, I felt the back of my pants rip wide open.
A giant roll of crepe paper comes crashing down into my eye. I fall on the ground, cannot move, cannot see. Stop, rehearsal ceases.
So, and my pants were gray, and I don't actually remember what color my underwear was, and I hope nobody can tell me.
I'm crying. I'm hysterical. I can't open my eye. I don't know what's happened. I don't even know that a giant roll of crepe paper has hit my eye.
I had to actually go through about half of the show with a big rip in my pants.
And we had to go to the ER.
So, word of the wise, make sure your underwear match your pants when you're on stage. You never know what will happen.
The worst thing I probably ever did in a show was ruin Christmas.
In a serious scene, there was a terrible smell, and it wasn't me.
I was backstage talking to an actor I hadn't talked to very often, and suddenly he started telling me a very fascinating story.
I was playing a dead body on stage, and I sneezed.
And the next thing I knew, I saw our stage manager, Dan Brewer, standing in the doorway going, and I couldn't imagine what was wrong with Dan.
An actor missed their entrance, and I had to go on for them.
They all looked at me very strangely when I finally made my entrance. and that's it.
I was in a production of Wind in the Willows here at NCT. I played the Pan character, the Piper at the Gates of Dawn. He's dancing around at the beginning of the play trying to get Mole to come out of his hole.
At the opening of the show, I'm down under the stage waiting for the Piper at the Gates of Dawn to play. Now Patrick is bare-chested, has a big wig on and some furry pants, and he's playing a pan flute.
And he's playing this beautiful music, and Mole comes up out of his hole and he's just like, oh, the music, the music.
There's also muslin hanging down, and Patrick did a barrel roll through the fabric.
And my foot catches one of the pieces of fabric and it comes crashing down on top of me.
Now Mole is not supposed to see the Piper at the Gates of Dawn.
And this will be a lot funnier if Pete was to tell you, but basically Pete's character is dancing around, he's having a fun old time, and all of a sudden it's kaboom!
And I looked right at him. Then I realized I wasn't supposed to, so I kind of played it off by looking around, and then
I got up. I thought, well, I'm okay. Well, I got up and started dancing around again, and then realized that I have no wig on. So at that point, there's no saving it, so I just picked up the wig and danced off into the wings.
Then I pick up the fabric, and in character, dance off.
It was a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day
for Patrick.